Welcome to Dynamite Delight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say this now. I'm not going to wait to the end of the show. This was a good showing. It was a good match. Well, almost all good matches. There was one match I was not fond of. But in general, all of the show was very good. And I do believe that you will like it if you have not seen it yet. You didn't have to wait until the end of this. It's not necessary. I'm going to explain this and my feelings about it, but I wanted to say right now that from AEW, Impact, and WWE, the ones that seem to be doing the best right now is AEW and questionable Impact Wrestling. I have already said what I need to say on my Impact review, but I'm saying it clearly. AEW and Impact at this moment have more compelling stories and matches than WWE. And I know people are going to say, what about NXT? It's WWE, guys. And it has not been the same since it went to USA and Vince got his claws into it. It's different. And many people are not fond of it. So, I'm just saying. Opening of the show, which I have to say was not my most favorite match. In fact, I think it was the weakest match of the entire show. I understand where it was leading, and I'm fine with it. But the 10-man tag was the weakest link of the entire show. And I'm sure people are going to like it. And I'm not saying it wasn't good for what it was. But for me personally, I just felt like it was not necessary. When you see the Inner Circle go up against Best Friends and their friends, which is Jurassic Express, cutting out Marco Stunt. But even though he did get involved in the match, even though he wasn't a part of it, it wasn't that 100% bad of a match. But I'm saying this. It just didn't feel like it needed to be a 10-man tag at the opening of the show. It just didn't need to be there. You could have done something else. I would have liked them to spotlight someone else from Dark. If you care so much about Dark, AEW, why didn't you open the show with a Dark match? An AEW Dark match? Why not? Bring two guys or two girls on AEW Dark that you know no one's seen yet, and just spotlight them on this show. I think that would have been helpful because people still don't look at Dark as much as people think they do. Now, the Inner Circle did have a promo after this at the end, nearing the end of the night, because they did lose. I believe they did. I didn't really pay a lot of attention to the match. And it was Chris who was just mad beyond stink. He can't stand Orange Cassidy. So two things. One, in 2 weeks, Orange Cassidy will have a match with the champion. Match 2. But next week, there's going to be a debate between Cassidy and Y2J. I believe I got the shot of their debate in my face. If I don't, sorry. Look, guys, I got to say this. Chris Jericho is gold. He's doing things that he could never get done in the WWE. A debate. And particularly a debate that is not scripted by the writers of WWE, which suck because it's got to be written the way Vince likes it. This, I'm sure, won't be perfect, but it's going to be way more interesting what you get in WWE. I'm flat out saying it right now. So I am curious to see where they're going to go with this debate with Chris, who can talk his ass off, and Orange Cassidy, who generally doesn't talk at all. What are they going to do? I don't know. Maybe Orange Cassidy will attack Chris, or maybe he will actually talk like a sloth, which goes with his character of being a lazy asshole. I love it. I'm curious. Now, the TNT title match of Cody versus Warhorse. Now, I've never heard of Warhorse, but I understand he's on the indies and he's pretty popular. I think he's 27 years old. I don't know how long he's been in the not company, but he's been in the business. Could be 5 years, it could be 10. Not sure. But supposedly he's quite popular. When I looked at the match itself, I don't see it. Now, it could be because I just don't know his full character. He loves heavy metal. There's no problem with that. But I just didn't get personality from him. All I got was spot fest. Now, you guys know me. I like a well-rounded match. And I like someone who at least can entertain you more than just flipping in the ring. It's got to be a little bit more. Not because I'm an old school style wrestling fan. I like Darby Allin, who basically is the second coming of Mick Foley. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Darby Allin is the second coming of Mick Foley. He is. And I love this guy. He does spot fest more than anyone. But he has a character that is not perfect like Mick Foley. Not the same as Mick Foley. But he doesn't care what he does to his body like Mick Foley. He is Mick Foley incarnate. You could see it in his facials. You can see it in his mannerisms. You can see it how he performs in the ring. And the guy is talented as a film. He knows how to do film. So that just goes along with Mick Foley. But when I see this Warhorse, I just don't see what the appeal is. Now, if he gets signed, maybe when he starts building himself up and showing what he's built up on the indies, I can understand it. Now, again, we get Cody acting brash, acting angry, acting like, hey, why am I not winning this? It's pissing me off. And he does beat him. No problem. But then members of the Dark Order come out and attack Cody, which really didn't make much sense other than they wanted to set something up, which they did. The first debut on the show, he's in my face. You got Matt Cardona, a.k.a. Zack Ryder, the actual friend of Cody. The guy looked ripped. I don't know what happened. You know what it is? Seeing AEW, and they have guys who are mid-size to a certain size smaller. And in WWE, they have a lot of big guys. A lot. You could see Matt Cardona as like a mid-size to near large-size wrestler. Mostly mid-size. And the guy looks freaking jacked. Show it again. It's going to be interesting what they're going to do with him. Now, he managed to get himself over in the YWC. And started the revolution for internet for the WWE. The WWE didn't barely pay any attention to internet. It was through him that they started really paying attention to social media. Really paying attention. They didn't do it a lot. But once he got over, that's when they really began to understand and really started to pay attention. So seeing that he is there, maybe now, being in a new environment, those juices of creativity may start flowing again, and you never know. He may start something new that could really help AEW. You never know. Now, the contract signing of FTR to really officially be a part of the AEW. You got Art Anderson then. Well, seeing Art Anderson there, which was nice. Mid-Atlantic Boys. I think that's what he called them, along with himself, the Mid-Atlantic Boys. It had a very important feel that they now are signing, and they asked Art Anderson, one of the Horsemen himself, to be there. And then once you see Hangman Page there bringing some really cheap whiskey, it felt important, and it felt like it was a moment in time that you need to remember. Now, I'm not saying that FTR is going to really make something big for AEW. I just don't know. But this moment could bring something. Yes, they could make the new Horsemen with them in it along with Hangman Page. It kind of sounds like it would make sense. But it's still up in the air. We don't know. And it's going to be a question where they're going to go with it. Now, you got Kenny and Page versus Evil Uno and the... I got to say this about Stu Grayson. I actually like his style of wrestling. But when it comes to his personality, I still don't know what it is. He's a follower of the Dark Order, yes, just like Evil Uno is. But you wonder, what is he like without the Dark Order? It's still a big question. Now, this was, for me, the second best match of the night. It was. I did enjoy it. It wasn't a bad match. I did enjoy the match. And once it was almost over, we start hearing about Colt Cabana being a commentary. You see the Brody Lee himself and the woman, I think her name is Abby. I don't think I got a picture of her. But Abby has now joined the Dark Order. She got a butt kicked, I think, last week or the week before. And now she's joined Dark Order with like a tiara on her face. Which makes some, not tiara, but like a light mask on her face to hide it a little bit. I'm not opposed to a woman being in Dark Order. In fact, I thought that would be the wisest thing to do, to put someone in Dark Order. Now, the question is going to be, where are they going? Because Hangman Page pissed off Brody Lee. And he said, you know, you pissed me off. You're going to pay now. And they started trying to beat down, and did beat down the Kenny as well as the Page to a certain extent, until FTR came out and then the Bucks came out. But where are they going exactly? Where? Are they going with Dark Order dealing with the Elite and FTR? I don't know where. Are they trying to convince Hangman Page to join them? Are they trying to convince Kenny? Because Kenny's been showing overtones of being more aggressive. Are they showing that Kenny may turn to the Dark Order? I don't know if Kenny's going. I don't know if Paige is going. Or anyone else. It's still up in the air, which is a good thing. We don't know where they're going with this. But I do hope it is going somewhere. Now, Britt Baker had a moment, saying, roughly speaking, she knows that Big Swole will be coming. And she's coming back from her suspension. But she's ready for it because she's got her a mystery opponent to be facing when she comes back. My feeling is going to be Reva or Rebel, the one who's right next to the Britt Baker herself. Honestly, guys, I don't hate Britt Baker, but I really rather her character be a dentist character than a role model character. We've had role model characters before, but a dentist is completely different. You don't see a dentist in wrestling, a persona. And you actually have a real dentist certified wrestling. Most of the time, almost all the time. And I want to see her really use that to her advantage. But they just dropped it very quickly in her run as a heel. And I think that was a waste of time for me personally. I would have liked to see her trying to pull people's teeth out. That would have been interesting. That she beat someone. See, let me paint you a picture quickly. Britt Baker, if she was the dentist and she beats an opponent, she has pretty much clamps that once she beats her opponent and knocks them out, instead of doing like a submission, she just knocks her opponent out and they're done. She takes like some clamps, put it into the mouth, of course having fake teeth, rip it out of their mouth with fake blood, and you see her with the teeth. And she has a collection of teeth. Yes, it sounds gruesome. It sounds just nasty. It sounds terrible. But it would go with her character. And I think that would get over more than the role model. That's just me. You guys tell me below. Now, Diamante has a match against Cheetah. I don't think it was for the title. They didn't really state it, but admittedly the stream did drop a couple of times when I was watching it. So I don't think it was announced that it was a woman's title match for the AEW title. I'd say TNT. I don't think it was for that. But if it was or not, Diamante did a decent showing. I like Diamante. I know one person said they wanted Diamante to work with Santana and Ortiz on the Inner Circle. And I can see why it would be very appealing. It would make a lot of sense in some cases. I don't know. It would make some sense. And having the Dark Order with a female on their team makes sense, and seeing that another faction has a female like in the Inner Circle also makes some sense. But if they are going to do it, I don't expect it to be done this year. I think next year would be the best time for her. Hopefully more time on Dynamite than just spending on Dark, because we need her to get over. They need to show her more on Dynamite. Now I know you're going to say, well, put her into the Inner Circle and they'll show it. Show her. No. It doesn't always work that way. She'll just fade off in the back. And that kind of sucks. I don't want that for her. Now, the best segment of the night was MJF doing like I'm not a crook of the Richard Nixon, saying simply, I am here to tell you that we need to take back AEW because the old guard has corrupted it. Because we didn't want to be like the old guard. We wanted to be the new guard. We wanted to be different. We wanted to be having choices. We didn't want to be like those people. And you know who we're talking about. He didn't say WWE, but he was going there. And pretty much he says Moxley epitomizes that old guard. He doesn't take nothing from him. He did put him over, saying you are a damn good wrestler, but I'm better. And I'm the one that must be champion to free AEW. So at All Out, me and you for that championship. Now, many people have been speculating that MJF would get that title, and sooner or later it would happen. And maybe they'll actually go there by All Out. Maybe. It's going to be a question if they're actually going to build into it. I do believe they will. Now the question is going to be, how long will it be before Cody gets involved? Now I'm not saying he's going to interfere with that. But the question is, when will Cody acknowledge it, guys? This is a question of making a story, again, about MJF and Cody Rhodes, or Cody, of the Nightmare Family. This has to come full circle for Cody. I'm not saying that's going to be a great story, but it makes sense to actually go there with that story. They must go there. If they don't, it's going to be screwed up. Now, the second possible debut, the women's tournament, tag team tournament, they're going to start throwing it soon. And one of the rules, well, I don't remember every rule, but one of the rules is that you can't have a... Let me put it to you like this. You got to pull a tag out from a jar. If it's the same color, that's the person you're going to be working with. You cannot change that person no matter what. A random person is quite interesting. That's kind of like throwing something against a wall and seeing if it's going to stick. If they are considering, I'm not saying they are, considering tag belts for the women, this is the best way to try and figure out who would be the best people to work with. Because as the people become interactive, you'll see, well, if it's going to be with the Nightmare Sisters, I'm not saying it's going to be with Allie and Brandy, but you get my point. Them teaming women up for this tournament and seeing if any of them really resonate with the people makes some sense. And then you got the Vicky Guerrero and the Nia Rose. And I know, I admit this myself, Nia Rose is a great talker. She is. Look, I like Nia Rose. I do. I think she's a great talker. As a wrestler, she still needs work. Let's not lie about that. But as a talker, she's top notch. I like how she talks. Having Vicky Guerrero there helps her in two ways. One, to get her over, and two, it helps her to work on her skills. Hopefully in the ring. Not saying that she wrestles, but knowing how Eddie used to wrestle, maybe she'll start taking some aspects of Eddie Guerrero. Maybe Vicky will tell her, look at some old film or old videos of my husband to get some good ideas of how you can wrestle. Because I think you'll look good doing this wrestling move or doing that wrestling move that my husband used to do. That could be really good for her. So seeing that in that respect, I'm fine with, as long as it doesn't last too long. When the time comes for Vicky to break away from Nia Rose, I expect it will happen, and that will really help Nia Rose in the long run. But then when Nia Rose got her, I believe it was a blue tag or purple tag. And she finds out from our interviewer, I can't remember her name, that her partner is here because someone else got the same tag. We see this woman in my face. Now, I could be wrong. Yes. Look, guys, it's been a long time since I've seen this possible person I think who she is. If I'm correct, that is Cameron from the Funkadactyls that used to work with Naomi in the WWE with the Funkasaurus Brodus Clay. Now, I don't know if it's actually her. It looks like her. And the moment I lay eyes on her, I said, what? Is that Cameron? It looks like her. I can be wrong. You guys tell me below if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. Because I haven't seen her in years. I think the last time I saw her was like 6 or 7 years ago. I don't remember exactly what she looks like. But I do believe that is Cameron, aka Cameron. And I think her name is Ariana. I can't remember her name. But if it is, this is going to be interesting. Can this woman really get somewhere? She never did get very far in WWE because of Total Divas. That fucked her up. Truthfully. Eva Marie and Cameron got screwed up because they got called up way too soon because of Total Divas. Because once they went on the reality show, they had to actually be on the main show. And be on the main show, they weren't ready. And I'm not saying they're great wrestlers either, Eva Marie or Cameron, but I think they needed more time to develop. So if Cameron, after leaving WWE, has worked on the indies to work on her craft, this is going to be a question of if she's actually going to be good. Now, finally, if I'm forgetting something, I'm sorry. Cage and Starks versus Moxley and Allen. This was the best match of the night for me personally. And understand, this wasn't because of it being a tornado tag. It wasn't because the match was perfect. It wasn't. Starks botched a lot during this match. I do believe it's the storytelling of the match that made it the best match for me. Now, before the match even started, Tags as well as Starks cut their promos. Tags cut a really good promo putting over both his boys. And then you see Starks talk. Now, I know one of my subscribers does not like Ricky Starks at all. He thinks he's shit. Dude, I understand. Everyone has their own opinion. For me, I do believe Starks has potential to be better than what he is. I think he's good, but he can learn to be great with the proper tutelage. And working with Taz, hopefully, will give him that. The man will help you learn. Help you learn in the ring, and help you learn to do promos. And that's what I'm hoping with Starks, as well as Cage. Cage is not a good talker. Very good in the ring, but not a good talker. And I'm hoping Taz could help him at least a little bit to improve a little bit. So, this was fine. The thing that surprised me, because Allen was not there at first, he literally was on, I believe, the Titantron. And when they were in position, he coffin dropped down on top of them. I think I got a shot of him landing on them or afterward. I don't know. It's in my face. But he coffin dropped on them. That, I'm sorry. I'm not a spot guy. I'm not. I don't really care about spots. I care about having a well-rounded, high-flying, grapple, and storytelling. You got to balance it out to really tell a great wrestling match. But this had to be acknowledged as one crazy-ass move. He is the second coming of Mick Foley, as I've said already in this video. And this goes along with his character. They kept fighting until they started getting in the ring, using utensils, and that's when you see Ricky Starks being sloppy. When Cage did a German suplex to try and throw Allen into... I don't have the shot, unfortunately. It doesn't matter if Ricky was a little out of position. He missed the position of catching him. Then when he was supposed to catch a trash can, from... Even Taz had to acknowledge, grab the damn trash can because he missed it. Now, I'm not bashing Ricky Starks, but he botched during this match. It happens. Botches happen. and he boxed during this match. I don't know if he's ever been in a match like this. So if he wasn't, it's understandable. And if he was, he shouldn't be happy about it. The thing that made the match good, wasn't that it was all about Moxley or all about Allen. It was all about the story of Allen eventually going to be against Moxley. Because by nearing the end of the match, and you see Allen go under the ring, grab, and look like it was double-sided tape on a, I don't know if I got the shot, if I do it's in my face, a double-sided tape on a skateboard with thumbtacks on it. He grabs that sucker, climbs the top ring rope, and stomps that mofo into Ricky Starks' back. You can see both shots. The first one when he got the pin, and the second one after the pin. I think either one, I'll probably switch it. It don't make a difference. That mess was nasty. But in the end, the faces win. But it was announced right when it was done, and you see Darby Allin pointing at that title, wanting a shot. They announced it in the middle of that. He's now going to get a shot next week. That's Allen versus Moxley. And you can see them in my face. Now, admittedly, this is too telegraphed. And I don't like it. This was not wise to do. You could have waited a week, have Darby Allin approach Moxley in the ring, because he calls Moxley out and says, look, I want a shot. You respect me? Give me one. He doesn't have to say a long-winded promo. It can be left on Moxley to do that. Darby Allin's character doesn't do long, lengthy conversations. He goes straight to the point. I want a shot. You respect me? Give it to me. And let Moxley take over from there. I felt that would have been more important. That would have been better than doing that and telegraphing they already had this planned out way too soon. But that's just me, guys. If you did enjoy it, more power to you. But for me, it wasn't done. The ending was not executed properly. But was this a good show? Yes. It was well done. A good showing from AEW, and I'm sure the opening of the show, most people will like it, but others will see it was a little not necessary. But the rest of the show was good. And wondering if Cameron, if that is her, and seeing where they're going to go with Matt Cardona. I'm going to mess up Zack Ryder's last name until I get it. So, I hope you enjoyed this review. Have a good day. Have a good like. Have a good like. Have a good night. And I don't normally ask. Give it a like. Maybe more people want to see me. If you think I'm worth it, guys. Peace.